Hey, what's up? What's good, YouTube fam? We have a lot to go over tonight, and I need for you to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to attempt to help you increase your scores and remove your negative items. And it's using a very specific tactic, and I'm going to share that tactic with you. But first, I want to tell you about my very first client. Now, I don't really know if I should have at that time taken him on because he was a self-proclaimed mob boss. Yes, you heard me right. A self-proclaimed mob boss, and I had absolutely no idea what the heck I was doing. I remember sitting there with hundreds of credit report pages spread out all over my living room table, and my eyes were literally crossing, and I was literally thinking, oh my God, I wish there was some way, some easy way to understand how to write a dispute letter and where I should even start with this entire process. Like, this dude didn't like banks. He overnighted me with FedEx cash, and I was like, oh my God, should I really even take this guy on as a client? And I explained to him, hey, Joe, you are my first client and I'm not really sure I can get you results, but I'm going to try my hardest to do this for you. And fortunately for me, probably my whole family, I was able to, increase his scores and remove his negative items, but it took time, way too long, because I had no clear path and strategy. And as I was sitting there, I typed into Google, I literally threw open my laptop and I was so frustrated, and I typed in literally like this. I'm sitting there going, how to write a dispute letter to the credit bureaus to remove negative items from a credit report. And guess what I got for results? Literally the same thing on like 9 bazillion sites. All you have to do is send out this letter, and this letter is just going to fix it for you for everybody, no matter what you have that needs to be removed. And I was like, man, I wish that that was an actual real thing, but hardly, right? Even back then, before I learned anything about anything having to do with factual disputes and how to actually increase, credit scores and everything, that was just not possible. But I really wish that I had had a way to have a clear path and strategy and understand some dispute tactics. And tonight, that's what we're going to be going over, like I said, among other things. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you, and the first thing that we're going to do is actually I'm going to show you my mini Bible, which you can actually access right now until tomorrow night. And it's actually going to be pretty cool. So this is my 66 Advanced Dispute Tactics mini Bible, and it's got 253 pages and over, it's actually 66 dispute tactics, and this is for bureaus, creditors, collectors, and like I said, 253 pages, but we're going to be going over one specifically, and that is removing your personal information. So I'm going to pull that page up. I believe it is 17. So let's go over to 17. That's 15, 16, and 17. Okay, so what I want for you to understand is it's not easy. It's not as simple as sending out one dispute letter that works for everybody, right? And I really wish that it was like that. I wish there was some way to, as a business owner, right? As a business, give you what you're looking for, that fast turnaround, that microwave society, overnight, 1, 2, 3 type of deal, because trust and believe, dude, I would put that price tag on it. Right? Just the same as if you want to send a letter overnight, you're paying $26, $28, $29 versus 60 cents, right? It's all about convenience. You want it there faster? Hey, guess what? Not a problem. Maybe you just want the tracking. Who knows? I don't know. But if you want the convenience, you are going to pay $26 versus 60 cents for a stamp, right? And it's probably going to get there at the same time. So what I'm saying here is understand that I want to give you exactly what you want. So when it comes to these 7-day, 14-day, 60-day processes, dude, there wouldn't be 60 million people that are still searching every single day for something that can get this done 1, 2, 3 for them. All right. So is it possible to remove your negative items? Yes, it is. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. It's going to take you some time. Just as I always tell you, it took you however long, right, to be able to initially build your credit. And then it took you all that time to screw it up. However long, 30 days, 180, 120, 5 years, 10 years. You got to take just a little bit of that time and put it into your fixing stage of this, because we're not just removing the negative items. We also have to flesh out our credit. We also have to increase our score. And we also have to put some time in between being delinquent and then doing it all over again, right? So why are we starting with personal information? Now, one of my biggest videos as far as views and engagement goes was the one where I was talking about removing personal information, getting a new address, and doing it that way. Now, the whole address thing isn't really working as well as it used to, but you can still dispute your personal information, which should always be step one, right? And then now you're going to be able to have an easier way to remove your negative items, okay? And if you want to access this, until tomorrow night, I'm running a flash sale on this. I do that with some of my products a couple times a year, and for this one, it's normally $197, but you can save $100. You're just going to go over here to this link. It's actually going to be the link that you're going to see on your screen right now. It is lives, lives.ask-kristen.com/Bible. So again, instead of $197, you can get it for just $97, and it's got everything that we just kind of looked at. And how did that fly get in here? Why is it always when I'm doing a video there is a bug that flies past? So weird. Anyways, so moving right along, there are 66 tactics, 253 pages, and it's as simple as going to this link. You're going to click on Get Mine Now, and then you're going to be able to access this. Very, very simple, all right? Now, let's go back to this, and this is the exact same thing that you are going to access. It is the 66 advanced dispute tactics, but we're going over just this one for right now, okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to write a very simple dispute, and you're going to pull your credit report and find all the addresses, all the names, and all the last four of your socials, maybe even dates of birth, employers, whatever is not actually going to be, what is your current phone number, your current address, your current name, all that, even your maiden name, if you were recently married, right? My credit report actually had 28 different addresses on it. When I removed those addresses, it made it so much easier to dispute. And that was one of the things that I wish I had known at that time, instead of flopping around like a fish out of water, trying to figure out my next steps, okay? So this is why I created this for you, so that you don't have to flop around like that fish out of water and sit there pulling your hair out at 2:30 in the morning, wondering if self-proclaimed mob guy Joe is going to be knocking at your door saying, hey, why aren't my negative items off? And did you even know what you were doing? Okay, so you're going to write that simple letter, and you're going to let them know this is not my phone number, this is not my address, or I did not live here, or this is, inaccurate, this is my mom's address, whatever it is, to dispute these. And it could even be as simple as, just a regular error like the spelling of your first name, okay? So the way this works is simple, and you will find this in the basic section. The social security number is not the main key that is used to match consumers for the purpose of credit reporting, right? Other factors are given more weight. In some cases, various pieces of the puzzle may be incomplete or missing altogether, okay? So the net result of this is that it's possible for an account to be tied to a consumer through nothing more than an outdated address, right? And even an incorrect spelling of their name, etc. Okay, so by disputing outdated and incorrect personal information like old addresses, names, misspellings, some derogatory accounts that are tied to the consumer through these outdated or incorrect references may inadvertently fall off. Now, one thing that you're going to want to know is that your account is attached to your personal information, such as your address, with a geographical code. All right, so one of the reasons that when you dispute collection 1, 2, 3, and they come back and say verified, is because of nothing more than just this address match. Now, there's no investigation, okay? There's no people in this process. It's literally a bunch of computers, databases comparing each other. And obviously, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come back and say verified. However, if you are taking away their ability to match an address, because there is no geographical code that's going to attach your account to any address, because we're going to go and remove that address, now they either A, have to just remove it, B, actually have to do an investigation instead of coming back and say it's verified, or C, it's just going to make it a little bit easier in this extremely difficult process, okay? I mean, just pausing there again, please understand. Please understand, the bureaus are not in the, complaints, which is what your dispute is, department. They're in the business of, obtaining and maintaining and selling your information, right? Databases, information, okay? So always keep that at the forefront of your mind when you are submitting these disputes, because their job is to have more of it. So when they have to go and make your credit report more accurate, it means less information for them, which means possibly less money, higher credit scores, which also means less money for, the creditors, and they are their number one consumer, not consumer, but customer, okay? So in your dispute, it's going to be very, very simple. It's going to, personal information, name, date of birth, address, blah, blah, blah. It's going to say, hey, Equifax, I found these, addresses, or, my name is spelled or whatever, and these need to be removed because they're either outdated or they don't belong to me or whatever is relevant right there, right? And then we're going to list them, these addresses, and then these phone numbers, this date of birth, this social, blah, blah, blah. And I need for you to correct these. Send me a new credit report, okay? So sometimes the bureaus may respond stating that, they report address data as creditor send it to them, and that the creditor must be contacted directly to fix it. If this happens, simply respond with another letter stating that it's the bureau's responsibility to provide accurate data, right? It has nothing to do with the creditor. Remember that we are putting the burden of proof on them, okay? It is not up to you to go and do their job for them. It is the Bureau's responsibility under law to investigate disputes, including requests to update information, all right? So they did not conduct a proper investigation as required by law. And you also want to start looking into privacy laws, okay? List the problems with the addresses, reiterate the list of addresses to be removed, and demand deletion. Now, it is common for older addresses on a credit report to have slight errors or otherwise be wrong or incomplete. So in many cases, the bureaus cannot possibly verify an address because it simply does not, there's nothing wrong to begin with, okay? So we have many, many, many other tactics on here. We have many, many, many ways for you to go and attempt to dispute your collections, your charge-offs, your repossessions, your foreclosures, your bankruptcies, your late payments, your mortgage, your, car that something happened during COVID and, whatever, you got sick, you couldn't pay. All of these things can be disputed. Now, does it mean that they're going to be removed? No, it doesn't mean they're going to be removed. Nobody can force the bureaus or the creditors or collectors to do anything. That would be like you getting in trouble, and let's just say that you hire an attorney and that attorney says, hey, John, I guarantee that I'm going to be able to get you 30 days community service versus doing 3 years in state prison because I'm just that good, right? I can force the judge or the DA, the freaking prosecutor, right, to go with what I'm saying just because I have the answer to everything. No, dude, you hire an attorney and they're going to tell you, hey, look, man, I've got 12 years doing this specifically in this court. And yes, those are addresses to the bureaus. We have fax numbers in here as well, okay? I have X amount of years doing this in this court with this DA, with this judge. And while I can tell you that, what I can tell you is, dude, I cannot guarantee you anything, but what I can guarantee you is I'm going to be the hardest worker in the room. I'm going to do everything that I possibly know of to get you out of this. And I believe, based on my experience with this same type of, alleged whatever, that I'm pretty confident I can get you 30 days. You know what I mean? I'm not really, I'm not going to really tell you otherwise, but, let's just wait and see. I'll do what I can for you. I'm really good at what I do. Now, anybody that is in the credit repair business, if they tell you otherwise, if they use the word guaranteed, they're just trying to get into your pocket. Why am I saying that? Well, if you look at the Credit Repair Organizations Act, right? It specifically tells you that a company cannot guarantee or promise you things that they can't deliver on. If you can't control it, you can't promise it, right? And that is one thing, timing, that they cannot control. So when you see 14 days, when you see 30 days, when you see 60 days, run for the hills, because if that existed, then trust and believe there would not be 68 million people with bad credit. Wouldn't that number be decreasing? What about the kids that are coming up right now that are probably ever only going to know plastic? What about My older clients, right? That's scary. My older clients, my youngest client is 18 and my oldest client is 89. Imagine being 89 years old and having to worry about your credit. That's not something that I want to be worried about at 89 if I, get the chance to live that long, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes you really just need to use common sense with this. And my common sense tells me, and it told me when I was sitting there in my living room wanting to pull my hair out, that there's got to be a strategy. And that strategy was learning how to do this the right way. And if you want to learn some very specific tactics on removing collections and charge-offs and repos and late payments and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to want to check out this mini Bible with the 66 tactics. The link was on the screen and it's down in the description, all right? Again, that ends tomorrow night, about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or around there. Might be a little bit later, right? But if you want to see if I can do a credit sweep for you and give you actual copies of the disputes, which nobody else is going to give you, right? You want to give up your basic rights as a consumer to not see what you pay for, then hey, I don't know what to tell you about that. But you actually get the copies of the disputes. I actually do all your negative items at once, not a few at a time, and all 3 bureaus, not one at a time, and I don't lock you in. And I give you payment security. You know what? I think when I pay for something, I actually want the receipt to say the actual thing that I paid for. But with other companies, you don't even get that. All right, so if you want to get your negative items off, I have many, many resources, including this, including me doing it for you, including the free hub, which is hub.my740.com, or my other resources at vault.my740.com. And we have a live workshop coming up on removing very specific negative items, like specifically removing charge-offs, specifically removing, collections and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit that like, comment, and let me know what you are currently struggling with. And I think that's it. But if you want to see if I can do that credit sweep for you, use the link on your screen and head over to my740.com. Schedule that call with me. I will see if I can help. And for now, we're going to put this back over here. But for now, I will see you later. I hope you have a great one. And that